It's 3:19 GMT. To some interesting news from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh to be precise. Several of the more than 200 Saudi princes and officials who were detained earlier this month in an anti-corruption purge have now been freed. Most prominent of them is Prince Miteb, who was sacked as head of the National Guard on the day of the purge more than 3 weeks ago. Ali Shihabi is the executive director of the Arabia Foundation in Washington, and he told me a bit more about the prince.
He was the former head of the National Guard until a few months ago, and the son of the late King Abdullah. The approach that the government took in its anti-corruption, I mean, there were two principles that were driving this. One was to try and get some assets that had been taken illegally by powerful people from the treasury back to the treasury. But maybe even more important was the signaling element, to send the signal to the country and to elites that previous behavior would no longer be accepted.
Not everyone was charged. Some were released without any further action. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, the prosecutor announced in the beginning that 200 people had been arrested, of which 8 had been released without action. But you see, one of the things that is mystifying people in the West is the fact that the government has not released the names of those that had been arrested. They did not want to name the people that had been arrested, because actually naming them would have been part of the punishment and was part of the, if you want, the coercive tools that the state had on the table in negotiating with them. And obviously, a few very high-profile names were leaked. And the reason they were leaked was to serve a political purpose, which was to show the country that nobody is immune, that even the sons of kings have been arrested. Having said that, beyond those very high-profile names, the government has actually not disclosed at all the other, 195 names. These people are being set, some of them are being set free after reaching settlements now, and there will be no public record of who they were.
What exactly is going on at the top of the Saudi leadership at the moment? Because Salman, he is almost like some kind of action man.
Well, I mean, he has come and he's determined to restructure the state. The Saudi state, in a way, has been sailing along without addressing any of its deep structural problems for the last 20, 30 years.
Does the broader royal family agree with all of this, or is it just seen as one faction of the royal family just doing its own thing?
No, I mean, there isn't really a faction anymore. I think everybody in the royal family gets their stature or power in so much as the king wants to give them that. Nobody has an independent power base where they have, tribes or military units that are only loyal to them. As a result, they, while there may be factions, they don't have any political consequence per se. And what is happening now is really a restructuring of the royal family and a turning the circle of entitlement and power, making it much smaller, because the government and the state could not afford such a large ruling elite with all its entitlements.
Are Saudi people broadly in support of this?
All anecdotal evidence that has come out from the kingdom and discussions tell you that Saudi people are extremely supportive of all this. First of all, they are supportive that some of these big names that everybody has known have been corrupt over the years are being made to part with some of their wealth. But I think more importantly, it gives them an optimism that going forward, this behavior will stop.
And I was speaking there to Ali Shihabi of the Arabia Foundation.